At the car auctions this week, a 2010 Audi A5 Coupe with the 2-litre turbo and 8-speed Multitronic. It certainly stood out in the yard. It was very nice inside too and looked to have come from a good home. However, it did have nearly 163,000 kilometres on the clock. The A5 started at 7,000 and was referred for negotiation at 7,250, and it later sold for whatever price was agreed. Now, what is it with white paint falling off cars these days? This 2006 Mitsubishi Lancer automatic did not have the looks, and the kilometres were high at 262,000 Ks, but still it was bid up to $1,200 where it sold. Another battle-weary car, a 2003 Suzuki Ignis manual. It looked to have had a dance party happening on the roof, and maybe some dirty dancing happening in the interior. If this was the Sport, you'd have plenty of takers, but this regular 1.3 with 277,000 kilometres didn't even get a bid from the $500 starting price. Then there was this survivor, a 2004 Mitsubishi Magna with the paint letting it down, along with a misaligned window, a weird roof repair, and a different coloured driver's seat. The 3.5-litre 6 had 236,000 kilometres, but it was a manual, and there was no love for it off the $500 starting bid. Slightly better paint on this 2006 PT Cruiser GT manual, like one I used to own, with the 2.4-litre engine driving the front wheels. It was reasonably clean, but I wasn't able to open the back hatch and check out the cargo cover, which turns into a food or drink shelf. This Chrysler, or is it Chisel, sold for $1,500 after a few bids. The 2000 Jaguar S-Type was back, and this time it had the window down. Perhaps somebody else noticed the smell inside. It didn't have an odometer reading listed because there's a problem with the instrument cluster, and it didn't even drive into the auction, so there was no interest at $1,000. Also unloved, a 2000 Ford Explorer 4-wheel drive with some interesting decorations to the outside, plus some interesting solutions to interior trim and some weird staining to the carpet. It runs a 4-litre 6 with a 5-speed automatic. The Ford was started at $1,500, and with no interest it was lowered to $1,000, but still no takers. And this was the one I was waiting for, the very last car, a 1996 Suzuki X90. Pretty much like my own X90, but with slightly more kilometres and with air conditioning. The interior was okay, although the carpet was worn on the driver's side and the spare tyre was placed behind the passenger seat instead of in the boot, probably to make more carrying space. I checked that the T-tops worked fine and they lifted out easily. After pulling the bonnet release that so many people can't find, I had to look under the hood and compared the factory exhaust to my extractors. The car showed evidence of having been to an offshore island with a permit on the windscreen. But looking underneath it, I couldn't see any rust, although my rust wizard might say otherwise. I was expecting it to start in the hundreds, but it began at $1,000 before the auction fees are added. Eventually there was an online bid for $1,100. It was referred to negotiation, with the auctioneer saying there was more work to do to meet the price they want. Now that's a final twist I did not see coming.